Hi, today I want to bring you something really important for me. When we imagine the Pacific Oceans, we picture something untouched, bright blue water, open skies, and endless calm, right? Like this. So today we are diving into something that people really see, but that affects ocean, wildlife, and even us humans. Did you know there is a giant island in the Pacific Ocean that you won't find in any map and no one's lived there because it's made of trash? This is known as the Great Pacific Ocean, something imagined as a floating island of trash like in this video. But the real story is more complex and more urgent. Over the next minutes, I will walk you through what it really is, where it comes from, how it affects life on Earth, including human health, what science have found, and what's being done to tackle it. Ready? Let's go. The GPGP is not a floating island. It's a vast area in the North Pacific between California and Hawaii, where oceans current gradually concentrate floating debris and plastics. Because of how ocean currents work, even from around the Pacific slowly collects there over years and decades. Recent scientific estimates suggest the patch covers about 1.6 million square kilometers. That's roughly twice the size of Texas. Moreover, the debris is tightly packed like garbage on land. It's sprayed out. Most species are small, sometimes microscopic, though there's also nets, ropes, and large items. So when people think floating island of trash, that's misleading. It's more like a thin, widespread soup of plastic and waste drifting in the open ocean. But how did all this plastic get there? The answer touched almost every corner of our global society. Plastic entered the ocean from many sources. Mismatched waste on land, rivers, carrying little trash from coastal cities, and importantly, from maritime activity including fishing gear, nets, ropes, and abandoned or lost equipment. Over decades, these items drift, break down, and get carried by ocean currents until they converge in the gear. Because plastic does not biodegrade, at least no one in human time scale, once it enters the marine environment, it stays, break into smaller pieces, microplastics, and accumulates. That is why the patch continues growing. Even though we sometimes pick up visible trash, new plastic keeps entering the cycle. The plastic inside the patch comes in many shapes and sizes, from tiny microplastics, smaller than a grain of rice, to large nets and debris. Research for cleanup efforts show that while microplastics dominate by count, bigger items like clothes, creates, and household items account for the majority of the mass. This matters because heavy nets and large debris behave differently than tiny particles. They entangle animals, drift long distances, and persist for decades. From a banana peel that takes 4 weeks to decompose completely, that is an organic component, to a glass bottle that needs 1 million years to fully degrade. Meanwhile, microplastics are harder to remove and harder to track, and may infiltrate the food web. Because of this mix of debris, the patch affects marine life dramatically. Animals can get entangled in nets, risking injury, drowning, or starvation. Sea turtle, dolphins, whales, birds, many species are vulnerable. The heavy debris especially does a lot of harm. At the same time, smaller plastic and microplastic can be ingested, mistaken for food by fish, seabirds, turtles, and then travel up the food chain. This can lead to internal injuries, reduced nutrition, and potentially carry toxic chemicals that plastic often absorb. Scientists worry this plastic and pollutants may impact reproduction, growth, and survival of marine species.
We could tell they were much smaller. This is a very poorly developed ovary, and this is sometimes what we see in the low oxygen zone.
The microscope provided further evidence of the harm caused by dead zones.
There was a dramatic decrease in the production of viable eggs.
Sperm count in male fish dropped too. But Peter spotted something even more bizarre.
The females showed evidence of masculinization. We found sperm in the ovaries of some of the females.
In the Gulf, these intersex changes have led to fewer female fish.
All those species that can't reproduce will disappear. This effect will cascade up the food web.
Because the patch is huge, the scale of this impact is not small. It is an ecosystem-level problem, not a local beach little issue. You might ask, but does plastic in the Pacific affect me living in Kentucky? The answer is potentially, through the global food system, seafood consumption, and environmental contamination. Plastic debris can enter the human food chain via seafood, salt, sea-derived products, and possibly through water. Once ingested or inhaled, microplastic may reach organs or cells. While the science is still emerging, researchers are studying oxidative stress, chemical exposure, and long-term health outcomes linked to plastic-associated pollutants. The fact that plastic pollution is global and ocean-derived means it's a public health concern, not just a marine biology problem. Removing visible trash helps, but it's not enough. The GPGP covers massive area, millions of kilometers squared, and most debris is small and disappear. Cleanup projects can target some larger items and surface debris, but the microplastic and small particles remain, and new plastic keeps entering the ocean daily. Also, plastic debris include heavy fishing gear and nets that are difficult to collect without harming wildlife or using massive research. And the ocean is constantly moving, so removing everything is almost impossible. That's why scientists and environmentalists say prevention must be the priority. Reduce plastic production, improve waste management, and stop plastic leak at the source.
Removing nutrients from the ocean and coastal waters once they're in the water is really problematic. So really, the solution is to prevent the problem to start with.
There are efforts worldwide to deal with this issue. It's not just local. So first, let's look at what's being done at the global level. One of the biggest examples is Marvel Annex B. This is an international maritime rule that basically tells ships and offshore platforms that cannot dump plastic into the ocean. It said that the standard of how garbage is handled at sea, and is one of the reasons many countries now monitor ship waste more closely. The next major effort is the Global Treaty on Plastic Pollution, which is still under negotiation. The goal of this treaty is to create the first legally binding global agreement that controls the entire life cycle of plastic, from how it's produced to how it's used, and finally how it's disposed of. In other words, instead of just cleaning up the mess at the end, this treaty is trying to reduce plastic at the source. And finally, there are collaboration leads by the United Nations and international NGOs. This group work together across country to push for bans on single-use plastic, to improve recycling system, and to promote something called extended producer responsibility, which means companies that make plastic products will also be responsible for what happened to them after they are thrown away.
We will have a strong global, international, and comprehensive framework on plastic pollution.
Now let's move to the national level. In the United States, one of the major laws of the Safe or Seas 2.0 Act, this law found research on plastic pollution, improve recycling infrastructure, and help prevent marine debris. It also supports new innovation to replace plastic with safer alternatives. Many countries have also passed plastic ban and waste management law. For example, ban on plastic bags, straw, foam containers, and single-use products are becoming more common. These policies help reduce the amount of new plastic entering the environment. Another important effort is the regulation of port reception facility and fishing gear. Some countries now require ports to have proper waste collection facility for ships and fishing vessels, so they have somewhere to leave old nets, rope, and trash instead of dumping them in the ocean. This is especially important for reducing things like ghost gear, which is abandoned fishing equipment that continues to trap marine animals. And finally, we have the action taken by NGOs, communities, and even companies. A big one is cleanup and recovery projects. These include beach cleanups, river cleanups, and large-scale removal of floating debris. This effort helps stop plastic before it reaches the open ocean or remove what's already there. There are also public awareness and education campaigns that teach people what plastic pollution actually does to ecosystems and human health. These campaigns encourage community to reduce plastic use, recycle properly, and join cleanup events. And then we have circular economy and innovative initiatives. These programs try to redesign products so they use less plastic, use recyclable material, or switch to biodegradable alternatives. The idea is to change the way we produce and consume plastic so we stop creating so much waste in the first place. At the end, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch shows us the hidden cost of plastic, not just for marine life, but for ecosystem and potentially human health. It's not a distant problem. It's a global, and it's connected to choices we all make every day. Whether we like it or not, plastic pollution is a human-made problem. And like all human-made problems, it's one we can change. By reducing plastic use, supporting better waste management, and pushing for policies that protect our oceans and health, we can help stop the patch from growing and start healing our planet. Thank you for watching. I helped you see plastic pollution from a bigger perspective and imagine yourself a part of the solution.